What an absolute freaking whirlwind of a first round of the NFL draft. We started off and it was like, okay, I thought it all kind of went downhill when I thought the Chiefs were trading up and they were potentially going to grab Tyson. They trade up, they grabbed Delane. It's like, okay, they're taking corner. And then after that, we kind of went on this big lull. Mekhi Lemon fell further than we thought he was going to. Kenyon Sadiq went actually kind of a little bit earlier than we thought. But then, the later round guys, you didn't even see Denzel Boston go in the draft yesterday. Omar Cooper, obviously, is a whole other discussion here. We are literally, people just walked out of the studio. We ended our stream about 10 minutes ago. This is our unfiltered and, probably say some interesting things reaction to this. But drop a like on this video if you enjoy the immediate reaction for the draft. Make sure you're subscribed. Again, if you enjoy the content, it helps us. We're going to put out as much content as we possibly can in the next couple days. Obviously, the night started with Fernando Mendoza, and we can talk about him for. Actually, let's talk about Jeremiah Love first. Let's talk about the more interesting
in order of
because. I think, my prediction before, if we could somehow grab the prediction from the live stream and put this in here, it'd be really good. I predicted, I think it was before the draft started, I'm like, I think that the Cardinals end up taking Love at 3, best player available in a draft this year. I'm going to go Cardinals take Love and Algier gets Algier to go. I'm not going to do it. It would be so funny if that happened. Do it for the
content. Let's go.
Where you have non-premium positions that are going at the top of the draft. Linebacker, safety, running back, everywhere. I think they might just take the best player available, and I think it's Love. Sure enough, they come up to their pick, and they have very clearly so many more needs in Jeremiah Love, and they take Jeremiah Love. And the funny thing about this, the absolute funniest thing of the night, is Algier got Algiered. And it was like, okay, is Cam Scadaboo going to get Algiered? No, I don't think you're remembering. The team with Algier is drafting in the top 5, and that's kind of when I realized, Algier's going to get Algier, right? Well, sure enough, he did. And so in terms of the dynasty impact for Tyler Algier, look, Tyler Algier, when you saw the money for him, we didn't rank him very aggressively regardless.
He's ranked in the same range as like Chris Rodriguez, Ramondre Stevenson, premium backups, essentially, that could any given week be productive with an injury or a goal line carry, but they're not really going to be serviceable or startable guys. So
again, not a huge... But in terms of where we're ranking Love right off the bat, the thing about Love is, again, his bakery score was so darn good that he is dang near landing spot proof. I think this is a fine landing spot for him. I'm not worried about it at all. When you're looking at the 3 factors rating, though, so we did go ahead and put these guys into our 3 factors ratings that we put on our team blueprints, things like that, our player categories. Jeremiah Love immediately grades out as a cornerstone asset. His 3-factor ADP puts him somewhere in the 2nd round. Positional 3-factor rank right now is at 5, and that's going to be because, again, he's a rookie, and production is very heavily weighted here, and we're basically just projecting with Love. But that's very high praise for a numerical model. And so with Love, I think it's no question. I think personally, I would have him in a tier below Bijan and Gibbs, but in the same tier as Genty and Hampton and Achane. And I'd probably have those 4 guys in a tier. I'm not sure if you're ranking them any differently. But Love is a guy that we always said was going to come in. The 101 was being drafted at the 1-2 turn, and I think he's a 1-2 turn player right off the bat in Dynasty startups.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think one thing that maybe some people will be a little bit disappointed about is the landing spot to Arizona. And this is something that, again, we were prepared for heading into the draft, is whether he goes to Arizona, Tennessee, the Giants, or falls to an ideal landing spot like Washington, does not make a dent, in my opinion, of Jeremiah Love and where he belongs in Dynasty. Again, this is a guy that's going to be situation proof. Very similar to Bijan Robinson, where I don't really care what that offense looks like long term. I don't really care if they end up being good or not. He's going to be the bright star in that offense, really, with Trey McBride, and going to be the motor of that offense and have the run game that they haven't really had in quite a while. James Conner, obviously, before he got injured, had a couple of really good years there, but he was never, from an athletic perspective, able to offer what Jeremiah Love is going to for that offense. So I'm excited to see how they end up utilizing him. It's going to end up in going to result in a ton of touches, opportunities. I think the sky's the limit for him.
So again, we go after Jeremiah Love, and then very next pick. My next prediction was, I think the Titans might take Carnell Tate. It makes a lot of sense. You draft a young quarterback that you believe in at the 101 last year in Cam Ward. It makes a lot of sense to go and try to get that guy his absolute stud wide receiver. And I think from a team building and a roster building perspective, this makes sense for the Titans. But Tate, from a fantasy football perspective, of the top 3 receivers that we're potentially going to rank all in the same tier still, Tate is the guy that by far has the least amount of competition among those guys. Now, when you're comparing quarterbacks, you're comparing Ward and Shuck and Jalen Hurts, and obviously Jalen Hurts is different when you're tying in Mekhi Lemon there. But really, Tyson and Tate, from a draft capital standpoint, went higher than Mekhi Lemon by a pretty decent amount.
Notably
higher. And with Tate, again, he is the only wide receiver there. Obviously, Wandale Wandale and him fit really well together schematically. Obviously, Wandale's kind of a PPR merchant, like middle of the field, shorter passes for the most part. Carnell Tate can stretch the field. He can be a deep threat. He has a very versatile skill set, and he's also a pretty fluid route runner for his size. He's lanky. The Titans, I like this for him. I think a wide receiver is going to go to the Titans, and I think if I were to pick, I think Tate would have been my pick there. I think in terms of Dynasty rookie drafts, this solidifies Carnell Tate, in my opinion, as the 102. Even though we're going to have a tier there, I think more often than not from an ADP standpoint, you're going to see Carnell Tate go higher consistently than both Tyson and Lemon. Lemon because of the draft capital and obviously having Devontae Smith there, but then Tyson as well because you have Chris Olave there. And I think the competition is just going to make people lean towards the guy who has very little competition.
Yeah, I think people are going to try to figure out how to monitor the Olave-Tyson situation, which could result in Titans sometimes going ahead of Olave and Olave sometimes going ahead of Tyson. And that probably means that Tyson's floor could be like a late third round pick, whereas Tate's going to be comfortably in the early third range in startups. So I think with Tyson though, overall, like this is one where we looked at it and we were like so emotionally sold on him going to the Chiefs when we saw that trade up that he went to New Orleans and we were like, But really, like at the end of the day, from a play calling perspective and a schematic perspective, I really don't mind this for a duo wide receiver pairing with Tyson and Olave when you have Kellen Moore being the play caller there. I mean, if you remember historically, Kellen Moore dating all the way back to his days in Dallas as the OC, he lost his job because he wanted to throw the ball too much. Mm-hmm. And that's something that you're going to see continue on. And I think you saw with Shuck, especially towards the end of the season. I mean, he had games where he was throwing the ball upwards of dang near 50 times. And in an offense where the wide receivers beyond Chris Olave are Devon Vele and nobody else. Like Devon Vele being someone who I'm noting who really shouldn't be noteworthy, but he is. Like, that's how bad it is there. They needed another weapon there. They went and they paid Travis Etienne, who has receiving chops. He's really known for his receiving capability, not necessarily his crazy efficiency on the ground. Like, this is looking to be a classic Kellen Moore offense that's going to be probably an air raid offense where Tyler Shuck is very capable of slinging it and has some underrated mobility as well where he can extend plays and push the ball downfield. So I do think Tyson and Olave can be pretty complementary here to a point where they can both be productive. And again, we're seeing this become more of a trend in the NFL. Golden age of wide receivers, it's getting more and more crowded, and that means more and more of these premium wide receivers in the same offense. I mean, you've got Higgins and Chase, you've got A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, and now Lemon as well. A.J. Brown going to be probably a Patriot.
And Booty.
Exactly. Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, right? And you can see multiple wide receivers be productive in the same offense at a high level if they have enough passing volume. And again, in a Kellen Moore offense, I could count on that happening. So don't freak out too much. Again, would I rather have seen Tyson go to the Chiefs? Sure. Yes. But
at the same time, he's sharing targets there too, dude.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
So. I don't necessarily think
don't sleep on Wandale.
No,
Wandale will get his own.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, and so the other guy that people are going to mostly look at in that tier, I think he's going to be drafted. I think he's going to be the consensus 104. I really do think it's going to go Tate, Tyson, and then Lemon pretty much every time.
Lemon and Price in the same tier.
I'm kind of there as well, and we'll get there. So like with Mekhi Lemon, obviously he slips a little bit. You had an offensive line run here in the draft. You had a lot of teams that needed offensive line pretty heavily. And so with Lemon, he goes to the Philadelphia Eagles, and
he's still number one in the bakery.
He is still number one in the bakery, and I just, this is very, very indicative of what's going to happen with A.J. Brown. He is going to get traded to the New England Patriots, which is funny because, Nate really put that out there a couple months ago that he thought he was going to get traded. Nate really did take some heat for that. Then I think it was unnecessary. I think it was always possible that A.J. Brown got traded. And I think this makes it almost a certainty at this point. So with Lemon, we got a question on our live stream tonight. Are you taking the pedigree of Lemon or the production of Smith for the next couple of years? Keep in mind, guys, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's more uncertainty in that offense than we want to actually acknowledge. Saquon obviously had a little bit of a more disappointing year last year. His ceiling looked a little bit capped. Jalen Hurts, obviously the offseason negative press stuff doesn't help there, and I think there are some questions about the long-term commitment to Jalen Hurts. A.J. Brown is not going to be there. Devonta Smith is going to be 28 in the middle of next season. So, like,
older prospect.
We're looking at Lemon, and I know he went 10 to 12 picks below these guys, but at the same time, Lemon was my favorite receiver in this class. It's hard. I mean, I obviously have to rank them in the same tier. I can't say Lemon over everybody, and the draft capital speaks for itself. But at the same time, when you're talking about how crowded that room is, it's not going to be crowded for long. Not that Smitty's on his way out or anything like that, but more so to say that I think the biggest question mark with Mekhi Lemon in Philly that kind of was brought up on the stream tonight from Ryan and Paul both is that Jalen Hurts does struggle to throw in the middle of the field quite a lot.
Well, he struggles to throw the ball, period. And I think that's going to be the biggest question that people have. And what I would counter to that, I think for a lot of people that might freak out about this potentially for Lemon's production in the short run is while the passing volume is very limited and very capped in Philadelphia, it has been for ever since Jalen Hurts was the starting quarterback there.
Yep.
And Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown have maintained a floor of wide receiver 2 production together in the same offense. And the reason that is possible is because there's no offense that's more concentrated from a target share perspective than the 2 wide receivers in the Eagles offense. It is Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown, and you sprinkle in a little Dallas Goedert, and that is it.
Yep.
That is legitimately it. Jalen Hurts could throw the ball. We saw it multiple times on multiple occasions last year. He could throw the ball 22 times, and Devonta Smith gets 11 of those targets, and A.J. Brown gets 10. And then 1 target goes to Jahan Dotson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's that concentrated, guys. And I don't necessarily think that's going to change here with Lemon being the new pairing with Devonta Smith.
Yeah,
so,
I don't think it will either.
Yeah.
So in terms of like where we've been ranking these guys, just for a general, like we haven't finalized our rankings here, rookie rankings we haven't even really started on, but like in terms of, we've tried to plug in our overalls, we put Tate in the like George Pickens, Garrett Wilson tier. We also put Tyson in that tier. I think both of us did. Lemon was a little bit below that, and Tate was also in that tier with Tyson. We pretty much had them in the same tier. So we're talking about like in terms of rankings, the wide receiver like 10 through 14 for Tyson, and the wide receiver 15 through 20 for Lemon, somewhere in there. So those are general ranges where you're seeing those. And again, going back to our 3 factors, Tate is a foundational piece. His 3-factor ADP right now is somewhere in the late 4th round. So we're going to be a little bit higher on that than Tate. Again, the analytics, the model is going to be a little bit more conservative with a rookie like this. Tyson's like right behind him, 7 picks behind him. Mekhi Lemon, he is quite, he is actually not that far behind him at all. He is only 3 picks behind. So all these guys are really bunched together. The 3 factors is looking at all these wide receivers very positively. And again, I think the draft capital may be slightly different. I think all of them have some pretty good cases to be fairly productive, not only short-term, but long-term as well. And for some of them, more long-term than short-term. But at the same time, it's Dynasty. You're playing in 2-year windows, and you need to be considering that. So we had these guys, Lemon ended up going a little bit later. The main thing that happened between all this was that, you had Fernando Mendoza, and we'll talk about this just real quick. There's not a lot to talk about here with Mendoza. Obviously, I ranked him right like behind Trevor Lawrence in my Dynasty rankings, which I know a lot of people have Trevor Lawrence really high. I don't necessarily. I have Mendoza with like in the same tier as Herbert, Lawrence, and Nix and Purdy, like that, like right before like the Dak Jordan Love tier. That's personally where I'm going to have him for now. Again, I'm not sure what the short-term production outlook is going to be there between him developing and maybe not even starting at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, so I have him back-to-back with Ward.
Yeah, so again, you're talking anywhere from 15 to 17 there probably. I think, again, short-term, I'm not quite sure what to think, but long-term, it's okay to be very high on Fernando Mendoza long-term. He is an upside premier guy in the 3 factors as well. His Bakery score is the clear quarterback 1. He was not the most surprising quarterback pick of the night.
No, Ty Simpson goes 13th overall to the Rams, which allegedly people are saying that McVay was not happy about that. I don't really know how much of that is legitimate. We'll potentially find out what the repercussions of that were.
Yep.
Usually he and Les Snead are on the same page, but regardless, the pick is done, the pick is in, and Ty Simpson is an LA Ram. And I don't think it's any secret that I think we're kind of just playing the year-by-year game with Matt Stafford at this point. And I don't necessarily think he's the type of guy that's going to take this personally either. I think he would be one of those types of guys that's like, hey, I'm coming back this year. You knew that I was trying to decide whether or not I was going to come back at all, which kind of indicates this might be my last year.
It's very clear that he's the starter there until he doesn't want to be.
Until he doesn't want to be. And I think it's very reasonable for them to want to take a shot here. I will say for our own narrative of Ty Simpson,
doesn't fit the agenda very well.
If it does not fit the agenda, if you want to trust the professional general manager who's built a Super Bowl caliber team and the Hall of Fame head coach who's not even 40 yet or just turned 40, like by all means, take the shot on the guy and trusting the opinions of the actual NFL GM and head coach over us. Where does that result in his actual, ranking and value for us? Like, I don't think for a guy that's probably not going to start at least for a year, because if Stafford pops off again and wants to come back, there's a chance that he sits for 2. Jordan Love sat for 2. Jordan Love sat for 3, actually.
3.
But I mean, this is kind of similar to Michael Penix, where if you remember Michael Penix, the reason he fell to the late second in a really deep class in 2023 was because Kirk Cousins was on a long-term deal. This is different for Simpson for a couple of reasons. Number one, this class is not nearly as deep as the one that Penix was in. Number two, you don't have a multi-year deal, right? With Matt Stafford. He really is, again, year by year. It didn't matter with Penix in hindsight. He ended up starting that year, which is crazy.
Nuts.
With Simpson, again, I think barring injury, which is a big thing for Stafford, we're not expecting him to start this year.
No.
So if you're a hard rebuild team and you want to take a late first shot on a quarterback in a super flex format, go ahead and take the shot on Ty Simpson, who is quite literally, I mean, if you were to compare this to one of the dream situations for a quarterback prospect who's developmental, I mean, this is better than like McCarthy going to the Vikings with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. And I mean, from a pro style offense perspective, I would say that Simpson did more as a prospect than McCarthy did. Well, I'm not pro Simpson. I wasn't pro Simpson before this selection. Before I saw him go to the Rams, I was way more anti-McCarthy than I was Simpson.
Oh, 100%. I don't even think it's debatable.
Like, especially now at this landing spot. So you can't deny like what the upside is being tied to Puka Nacua long-term and whoever else they bring in long-term, whether they draft someone next year or whatever, and obviously Sean McVay. So,
I mean, talk about the value of a dynasty pick. When you're talking about Simpson late in the first round, Simpson is a guy
he still
that is
goes
going
late
to,
first round, by the way.
He's going to go in late first. He's going to be priced, keeping in mind that he's not going to start right away, and so it's going to bring his price down. But there is a 100,000% guarantee that Simpson is going to be the starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams and for Sean McVay. And what happens when that happens? He's just going to jump up a couple rounds. Like you are buying a guaranteed value in a class where the late first is still tonight did no favors to late first. It really only hurt it, in my opinion. In a class where the late first is this bad, Simpson in this particular scenario is a complete and utter lifeline to those of you who held your late first.
Yep.
You need to take Simpson here because I promise you, we only filled out 10 spots tonight. The other 2 that are going to be filled tomorrow, we might be excited about them. Maybe it's Stowers, maybe it's Coleman, maybe it's Brazel, maybe who knows.
We're hoping it's Stowers and Coleman because if it's one of the receivers, it's
all bets
bad.
are off. And again, even then, Simpson is an absolute freaking lifeline for rebuilds and reloads in Dynasty. So you need to absolutely be thinking about that. And we'll talk about that when we do our rookie rankings as well. Of course, we have a ton of stuff going on right now. We also have a specialty for you guys. You get 2 free team blueprints when you do join with code domain at flockfantasy.com/domain, the annual Mother Flocker tier. Again, we can do 2 team reviews for you. You're going to get everything that's included with our membership, though. You're going to get our Discord, our leagues. You're going to get the blueprints. You're going to get the site tools, our rankings, the flock calculator. You're going to be able to join the community. We're having a great time. It's Dynasty Christmas. And again, we run this sale once a year. You can get 2 free team blueprints when you become a new member. It's 2 of your teams. You're going to get rookie draft blueprints with those, and they're going to be, as well, infinite blueprints. So you make sure you keep that in mind. Not to mention, we have 2 other bundles. The draft bundle, which comes with 2 free blueprints, and, well, not technically free. 2 blueprints and a swag box. And you also have the other bundle where we get any premium blueprint that's bought right now gets another free blueprint on top. We're running all kinds of deals. It's Christmas. It's our Black Friday, it's our holiday, and so take advantage. We've got the links down below. You can make sure to take advantage of those deals while they last, and we'll probably be done with those here this weekend. But after really Simpson went, the next probably most notable thing was Kenyon Sadiq, and Kenyon Sadiq went to the Jets, and so it's like okay. Sadiq,
let's talk about Sadiq and Cooper just in tandem because they do have.
I'm getting there. You saw Sadiq go to the Jets, and you're like okay, like yeah. Better than Cooper. Like I'm glad Cooper didn't go there. And
pause. Why the heck do the Jets have to literally not only ruin their own franchise, but ruin everything else for everybody?
Garrett Wilson and Breece Hall. So here's the thing, and
genuinely, I'm sick of it.
And I don't want to overreact here. And I think the other guy said we were overreacting a little bit. I really don't think I am overreacting here. Like, I mean, I would want nothing to do with, Kenyon Sadiq I love. And the fact of the matter is the hit rates for tight ends that go in this range in Dynasty rookie drafts are very good. Small sample size, very good. I think Kenyon Sadiq's still a very good pick. I think Kenyon Sadiq, Paul made this point tonight, I think Kenyon Sadiq has a lot less of a threshold to kind of cross to be an elite tight end. But again, tight ends don't hold their value near as much as wide receivers, and the ceiling is not near as high. You also have to consider that. But he goes to the Jets, and you're like, okay, he's going to be there with Garrett Wilson. They need a second weapon. Geno's slinging it. Sure, I'm fine with it. And then you get to the end of the draft, and the Bills are on the clock, and then they trade back, and the Niners and the Bills are on the clock.
Take a wide receiver.
And the Bills are like, you can't pay us to take Omar Cooper Jr. So the Jets were like, well, I'll do it. And then they jumped up and took Omar Cooper Jr. And now here's what you have. That offense is like we're having conversations about some of these offenses, whether there's going to be enough for some of these guys to produce. We're having that conversation about like Olave and Tyson. Like, yeah, guys, imagine having that with Geno on the Jets with Garrett Wilson and Sadiq and Cooper.
Not only that, we can't even get the best offenses in the NFL, like the Lions, to get 3 receiving assets to produce all at the same time in Amon-Ra, J-Mo, and Sam Laporta. How the heck do you think that Garrett Wilson, Sadiq, and Omar Cooper are going to do that? If you think all 3 of them are going to manage it, that is you're chugging so much copium, like you need to stop.
Yeah,
I don't.
It's not.
This is not overreacting.
I don't think it is.
Sadiq is going to be irrelevant, or Cooper is going to be irrelevant this year until they get a franchise quarterback to actually make this all work. And they haven't found a franchise quarterback ever. Ever.
Sanchez, come on, Nick. Sanchez.
So again, like you're kind of stuck taking these guys in the after the mid range towards the late, not quite at the very late. What do you like 109, 110 for Sadiq and Cooper right now?
Probably 108, 109.
108, 109. And you're kind of stuck taking those guys. And Avery was right. He said this during the stream. Like you're kind of stuck taking them, and you're not getting a value in when you take them.
No.
And the best time to buy them is going to be next offseason.
Yeah,
when they go get a quarterback. So then their stock will go up, and then you can kind of reevaluate their price. But in the short run, it's rough for both of these guys.
I essentially think one of them is guaranteed to lose value this year. If not, I wouldn't say both of them are guaranteed, but one of them's absolutely losing value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it ain't Garrett Wilson.
And it's
people were asking us about Garrett Wilson, guys. He's getting paid $30 million, and I love Omar Cooper. He ain't Garrett Wilson.
No,
there's no hurting Garrett Wilson here. Garrett Wilson is hurting them because he's the only one that can command any respectable amount of volume in that offense because it's so abysmal.
I mean, be serious with yourself here. You're also talking about like the reason that the 107 and before, obviously we have another pick that's coming up that really helped here. But the 107 and the 108, we thought tonight was going to take a very big hit. It took still a small hit, but not as big a hit as we thought because of price. The reason this is such a big hit is because you have 2 guys, a prospect in Omar Cooper where he was a late bloomer, so analytically you don't have a super strong case for him there to make, and Kenyon Sadiq, who is a weird tight end from an evaluation standpoint, from an analytics standpoint. Is he more of a wide receiver? So 2 kind of question mark prospects with lots of upside, and they go to the exact same team, and it's the Jets. Like that literally could not have crafted a situation for those 2 guys. That's
I would have rather taken the Dolphins or the Browns for this to happen.
Or even just them be on separate teams. Sadiq to the Jets and Omar Cooper to anywhere else. You're feeling a lot better than you are. Them going to the same team does not necessarily help us here from a dynasty standpoint. No. Because there is only so much target volume, at least short term. We play in 2-year windows. Again, next year will be the time to buy because they will get a new quarterback. Guys, this is just short term not good. Yeah. And the 107 the 108 took a real hit tonight. We'll talk about the 107. But, with Cooper and Sadiq, Cooper we had in the tier with like Jamison Williams, right? So around like wide receiver 30 range right now for us in Dynasty. Yeah. Kenyon Sadiq, I think we had him around tight end like 7 through 9 or something like that.
We've got him below range. Fannin and Kraft, right around where Laporta is being priced right now.
Yeah, and below Warren as well. And so those are the new Jets. Shout out to the Jets for just ruining our lives. Like I genuinely don't understand.
It's ridiculous.
I genuinely you're just gonna have to hear.
And honestly, the Bills aren't exempt from blame here either.
No, they aren't.
Like,
they think they're cute for trading back.
In such denial. Like in such denial. Like if you want,
it's fine. Just roll with Khalil Shakir for the rest of his freaking career and see what happens.
And Keon Coleman,
that's fine. Just don't win Super Bowls.
Right.
Hopefully Brady can get it done for him. Okay, so that happened. The
Concepcion goes to the Browns.
This is solid. It's a pretty good range. It's a pretty good landing spot for Concepcion. There's no target volume.
This has got to be the best landing spot on an awful team with no
Sure.
quarterback for a wide receiver to go to, because Judy sucks. Fannin would actually is a great complement to a number one wide receiver in Concepcion, who's very capable of that as a very efficient route runner, one of the most efficient route runners from an analytical perspective in this class. Saw this, we were like, yeah. Like, we didn't throw a party or anything, but we were like, yeah, I mean.
But we planned the party. Like, it was.
I'm totally good with this. Good draft capital. All the hype was merited. Again, all of you KC Concepcion truthers should be really, really excited about this.
Yeah.
Like, really, really pumped.
So again, not a terrible landing spot. Lots of opportunity there.
Tons of
That's
opportunity.
the main thing. I mean,
odds are
we're throwing him the
again,
ball. Like,
odds are they're going to draft a quarterback next year too, if you're worried about the long term.
Yeah, and Concepcion, again, he was a my guy on the video. The route running capability, he's probably the best separator in this class.
Yep.
You just bet on the talent there, and he gets first round draft capital. You just like it. It's just solid, and you feel good about that. And I think Concepcion, when you're talking about like where he's going to go in rookie drafts, I think you're talking 105, 106, maybe 106, 107 with Price, who we're going to talk about. We'll go ahead and
Everybody
get there.
wants to know about Price.
This is the highlight of the night, obviously, because like we were pretty doom and gloom about the 107 and 108. And Price kind of salvaged the 107 here because he pushed everybody down one. Like, because you can potentially get like a Concepcion now at the 107, which is huge. So the 107 and 108, we weren't feeling super good about at that point. And really, like, we had talked about this, and there had been hype around this and conversation. Like, what if Price goes to Seattle 32? We did not think
that was
gonna
the
happen.
biggest pipe dream.
I
of all
thought
pipe
it was
dreams
a pipe
for
dream.
us. Yeah.
Well, evidently, it's not a pipe dream. Jadarian Price is going to be the absolute wild card of this class, and it became very evident sitting here talking about it with Paul, sitting here talking about it with Ryan tonight. Like, you are basically forming your entire argument for Jadarian Price. There is no, like, actually, I will say this. Like, you say there's no analytical backing for this. There's a little bit of analytical backing here. Like, his bakery score really is not bad. He's just so unique because he was the running back 2 behind, of course, a guy who was a Heisman Trophy candidate and a top 3 pick in this year's draft in Jeremiah Love. It's just such a unique situation.
Yeah.
And again, like, there are really important aspects to his game, like pass catching, as we talked about tonight on the stream. We haven't necessarily seen him showcase. Not to mention, situationally, he goes to a situation where he's going to be splitting a backfield still. And is he going to just be the new Kenneth Walker from a production standpoint? That's what everybody's asking. Right. I think regardless, you're going to see him go 105, 106. I'm not going to get too deep into the weeds I don't think I want to get too deep into this discussion.
Not
right now,
yet.
Because we need to really kind of flesh this out.
Yep.
And it's just, this is Instant Reaction. It's 1:23 a.m. We are trying so hard to get content out for you guys.
And here's where I will put my foot down immediately, immediate reaction. A lot, again, all over the place here when it came to Dynasty Community's reactions with the Price pick. The ones that I think are like, we need to chill is, oh, he's the next RJ Harvey. Oh, he's the next Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Sony Michel, and Rashad Penny, if you want to put him in there, even though he shouldn't really be in there. Like, come on. You can't be saying just because this is a weak class that therefore the 32nd overall pick in this year's class is equivalent to a late second round pick in another class that was a little more talented, where number one, the analytics don't back that up. Number two, that's not necessarily true when you're talking about team investment. The Seattle Seahawks chose to spend a first round pick on a running back who was backing up Jeremiah Love throughout Notre Dame's time over the last couple of years. So he has very little mileage, but also a first round pick isn't just like, oh, that was just the 32nd overall pick, so it may as well have been a second round pick. You go from fifth year option to not fifth year option.
It's a big difference.
First round money to not first round money. There is a massive jump down. And that's huge, especially at the running back position. Like, we're talking about one of the least valued positions in the NFL. And they let go of the Super Bowl MVP in Kenneth Walker and went out of their way to spend their first round pick on Jadarian Price. So again, we can flesh out the analytics in future videos. We can start talking about where we think he should ultimately be ranked based on like all the landing spots that we get in day 2 and day 3. But at the end of the day, guys, Jadarian Price was a first round pick, and we should treat him like a first round pick.
Again, like, I think the first round draft capital, like, it's so simple, but with a guy that doesn't necessarily have like all of the proven like high level college production, why would they have spent a first rounder on him? Like, what's the point of spending a first round on Jadarian Price if you don't plan to give him the large majority of the workload there? And I get that he could be the next Walker. I get it. I know he's a breakaway run guy. I understand all of that.
Why would Price have declared to begin with?
But at the same time, keep in mind, this is not the same coaching staff that drafted Walker and Charbonnet. And while last year, there's so much here, guys. There's so many layers. I don't want to get into it. Initial reaction for rankings. We'll have this discussion on a video. I promise you. Right now, anywhere from 10 to 16 is where I would probably put him. I have a tier of Chase Brown, Judkins, Hall, Henderson, McCaffrey, Scadaboo, and Price right now.
I have him right in the middle there. I think I'm going to have him outside the top 12 at 13.
So
right by Henderson.
I think the people who are going to be lower on Price are going to put him in the Bucky, Saquon, Kyron, Javonte, ETN tier.
Yep.
Which, again, like, I'm not going to fight you too hard on that. I probably have him in the lower end of the tier above. So, but we honestly just need, this is probably the biggest wild card we've had in a while in terms of like, we have to try to solve this puzzle.
Yeah.
It's the first round running back hit rates versus the fact that Price has such a limited, but I liked Price's tape is the thing. Regardless.
This wild card is crazier, almost crazier than Travis Hunter's because in theory it could be solvable. Whereas Hunter's wasn't really solvable.
So,
yes. And everybody knew that because of the DB stuff.
So in terms of, a quick little rookie board here, these are not our rankings. We put a lot of time and effort into our rankings. This is more just how we think these drafts might go, if we had to guess right now. Love and then Tate, Tyson, Lemon. In that order, I think is pretty solid. I think they're going to be in the same tier. We put Price at 5. I think Price will definitely go as high as 5 in most drafts. Price, Mendoza, KC. And then Cooper, Sadiq, and Ty Simpson is what we have right now. This is all very tentative. It's all very gut reaction-y. We haven't even stopped working today. So, like, don't hold us to it too much. But at the same time, I would think we have a pretty good idea of, like, right now how it would go. Mm-hmm. And we're going to count on round 2 and 3 to really fill out the rest of this board here for us. So, a fun NFL draft. Again, go check it out below if you want to take advantage of our deals right now. It's a great time to come join the community. We got a little surprise for our domain moflows tomorrow, too. It's going to be
fun.
It's going to be fun. All right, we're back live tonight at 6:30. Make sure you're there. We had our biggest stream ever tonight. And so shout out to Paul, shout out to Ryan, shout out to our whole team, and shout out to all of you guys. We appreciate all your support. We love you. We'll see you tonight for rounds 2 and 3 of the NFL draft.